We'll begin this morning prayer by Glenda Lambert, who is with the Unification Faith. Glenda?
Let's bow our head that we can then do. Our most heavenly parent, we are so grateful that this morning we can all gather here together to truly bask in your love today. We're so grateful that we are your children because, Father, we are truly looking for your lost children. And in this parliament of religions, you have brought us together so we can truly see each other's beauty, experience each other's love and heart. And we're so grateful that we have all your children here want to listen to how Arizona Interfaith is working to be so established. So as we're gathering here, please open our hearts and minds. Please open, Father, everything that you want us to listen to. And I ask you to please bless each person who will give a presentation. And all the religious leaders, in your name I pray. Aju and Amen.
We welcome all of you, my friends. I'm sorry I'm not standing. Until a year ago, I was running a couple miles a day, but desperate illnesses attacked my body, which has forced me into a wheelchair, and so I'm not able to stand. My name is Paul Eppinger, and it's been my joy and privilege to be the executive director of the Arizona Interfaith Movement for since we started 20 years ago. And we were in Barcelona, then in Melbourne, making presentations. But we're delighted to be here today. And I will pass the mic on now to the man who will preside, and he is Dr. Brent Jameson. Is that some of our group acting up back there again? I want to present to you Dr. Brent Jameson, who is of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and he will be conducting the meeting this morning. Brent?
Thank you, Paul. We're grateful for your being here. We're all uplifted by your attendance. The Arizona Interfaith Movement had its beginnings at the Arizona Ecumenical Council in the year 1995 with 8 different faith groups.
Yes, very good.
We began with 8 different faith groups: Christian, Catholic, and Protestant, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Jewish, Islam, Baha'i, Hindu, and Buddhist. At that time, we were not aware of any other interfaith groups in the country, so we wrote our own mission and vision statements, our own constitution and bylaws, which are in fact still in effect today. At our meeting, a board of directors was formed, and this group has met every month for the last 20 years, except for the month of July. Different groups began to attend, adding to the original 8, and today we have over 22 faith groups who have joined our movement. During the second year of our founding, a group of us met at the Lutheran Retreat Center, forming our first experienced interfaith meeting. It was such an extraordinary experience that a year later we held an introductory rally to interfaith at the Hyatt Regency Hotel Ballroom in Phoenix. We didn't know how many would be in attendance, but when we arrived, there were 700 chairs in place. Paul asked if they could take some of the chairs down. We didn't know if there would be 25 or 100 people who would respond to our invitations for the rally. Fortunately for us, the manager said that he could not take them down since they were already set up. The rally was to begin at 6 p.m. At 5:30, all 700 chairs were full, so they brought in another 100 chairs and then another 100, and by 6, there were over 1,200 people who came to our first experienced interfaith rally. Every year since then, we have held a similar event with our seat members serving along our dinner before the occasion. In the beginning, we had a children's choir that sang special activities. They were so popular, the governor of our state at that time, Janet Napolitano, had them sing wherever the special state events were held. Their most impressive moment came when they were invited to sing at the 9/11 memorial service held at the Pinnacle ballpark. After a few years of our commencement, we began meeting once a month at various worship sites of our group members. It was an enlightening experience to engage in the worship experience of each of our faith groups. We began to experience what it meant to build bridges of understanding and respect. 10 years ago, we held our first Golden Rule banquet to honor those in our community who had demonstrated living out the Golden Rule principle in their lives. It was such a popular event that we have continued this practice to the present time. You'll hear more about this event later in our presentation. Today, we continue to go forward living out our three great principles: understanding, respect, and support.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Ersick, and I'm the higher ed representative on our Arizona Interfaith Board. Early on, we worked to develop a logo that was descriptive of our mission for the organization. We wanted bright colors so it would be noticed, and the idea of the collective people, all coming from the same source, was what we went with. The original picture was people in a circle reaching towards each other. Our logo artistically depicted this, and the colors didn't have any particular symbolism. Our message about our logo we could share. Do you see all the people standing around the earth, their heads, their arms reaching for each other? We're all part of a universal family. Coming from the same source, we want to build bridges, work together around the Golden Rule. Our objective is living the Golden Rule equals world peace. Our mission statement. This was an awesome process with our board that involved great leadership and reasoning skills. Our then board president led us through the exercise of gaining our focus and primary purpose to exist as an organization. As you can see, we wanted to be inclusive of everyone as long as they desired to unite with our specific purpose, the implementation of the Golden Rules. And how would we do it? Through dialogue, education, service, and by employing use of the Golden Rule. It seems so simple, yet it is profound, specific and instructive, so we could maintain a focus and not go off on other tangents that would dilute our purpose or confuse who we are. These would be the kinds of things that would have confused our branding. Having this mission statement has helped us more than anything to keep true to why Arizona Interfaith Movement exists and has protected the organization from going in a direction that would have divided us or closed doors within our community before we could open them. The next is about our board membership. It was our desire to be inclusive, and the decision to have 2 voting members per faith was made so that no group would dominate. By inclusive, that meant the group needed to be going in the same direction as our mission statement and have a Golden Rule text for their faith. We have developed membership application for this purpose, and it's also in your handouts. Currently, we are starting to consider how many subgroups of major faiths should be represented, and I think that this is an indication of the growth of the movement and how integrated we are in our community. Early on in the days of the Arizona Interfaith Movement, our board members connected also in the business sector, and this is how we got our donations for the organization, especially to support our Golden Rule Awards banquet. This was our life in the early days. Currently, we have a strategic plan. We took our mission statement and from that developed goals and objectives. And what this did was to reinforce the brand. As you can imagine, having a board as large as ours, we are upwards of 24, if not more, members because of all the faith traditions we have. Many people come with wonderful ideas, and we need to have a way to figure out how it fits with this larger mission. And by asking people to articulate that and then to tell us what the needs are for it, we're able to keep us all, even with our multiple projects, working in the same direction. And that brings us to our annual retreat. Our annual retreat is one evening in August where we have a dinner, and so we also develop more fellowship in that regards. And then we work in our small groups according to these areas that we have as a strategic focus. And out of that meeting, we have a one-sheet form that everybody that has a good project idea can articulate it, tie it into our mission statement, and then also articulate, which is very important, our financial and human resource requirement for it. And from that, that is how we build our budget. So our budget actually is worked up from the bottom up with all the great ideas and then sorting out what we can accomplish that year. And I think we are on to the next person.
Okay, good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing? You survived this conference so far? Yeah. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to start my little talk this morning. My name is Mark Anderson. I'm a recovering politician. I served in the legislature 14 years and currently a judge, so I'm easing my way out of that process. But I want to share with you this morning by starting by asking a question. How many of you disagree with the golden rule? How many of you think you should not treat others the way you want to be treated? Nobody? It's not surprising because the golden rule is a universal principle. It applies in every society, religion, and culture throughout the globe. And it's a very practical operating principle that you can apply in every human relationship, in literally every field of human endeavor. That's why I was very happy when the Arizona Interfaith Movement came to me when I was in the legislature and they said, would you run a bill for us to make Arizona a golden rule state? And I said, golden rule state? Of course, sure, who could possibly oppose that? Well, remember, this is politics. And so I ran the bill, and I was in the Senate at the time, so it passed through the Senate, it went over to the House, and sure enough, the first vote in the House, the bill failed on a vote of 24 to 35. And I thought, when I heard about it, I said, how could that be? Who could have voted against the golden rule? That's impossible. But fortunately, there's a process in the legislature where you can reconsider a bill that's failed. If you have someone who voted against it, make a motion to reconsider. So that's what happened. And a couple days, so I had a couple days to go over there and talk to those people and say, why would you vote against the golden rule? And to try to convince people to change their mind, and when it came up for a vote again. And in talking to some of the conservative members over there, they were afraid that somehow, by voting for this to make Arizona a golden rule state and to promote the golden rule, it was going to open the door to more social spending. Then I talked to some of the liberal legislators over there, and they were afraid that by voting for the golden rule, somehow someone was going to impose their moral values on them. So I had both sides kind of operating out of kind of a fear mentality, which isn't surprising if you've been in politics. That's kind of normal. So fortunately, I was able to convince people that that was not going to happen, and the secret to this is to actually educate people about it. I think I lost it. You still there, Larry? Okay. So the way I did that was by actually reading the bill to them. So I'm going to do that for you this morning. And if there's anybody here who's offended by this, let me know. I'm really curious if I can possibly offend anybody by this bill. Because it was written so many times to make sure that didn't happen. It says, whereas, and you have a copy of this in your hands, whereas the citizens of Arizona recognize and appreciate the wonderful diversity of peoples, cultures, faiths, and languages that make up our state, and whereas the golden rule proclaims that we should treat others the way we want to be treated, and whereas variations of the golden rule are embraced by every belief system, and whereas through application of the golden rule, we may be able to reduce and even eliminate prejudice, hate, bigotry, and racial intolerance. And whereas the schools, community organizations, leaders, parents, and children of this state would benefit by recognizing, teaching, and practicing the Golden Rule as a tool for kindness and civility. And whereas living and practicing the Golden Rule will have a powerfully positive effect on each individual and the society in which we all live. Therefore, be it resolved by the legislature of the state of Arizona that the members of the 46th legislature of the state of Arizona encourage the people of this state to live the Golden Rule and treat others the way they would like to be treated. That the Secretary of State transmit copies of this resolution to the Governor, the Speaker of the House, the President of the Senate, and the Arizona News Media. So that was the language that we finally came up with, and when the bill came up again for a vote, I'm happy to announce it did pass, 41 to 14. So there's still 14 people out there that somehow are confused. But nevertheless, we don't need a unanimous. It's only the majority. So the bill passed. At the end of the day, Arizona became a Golden Rule state, and the stage was set to then proceed to the next step, which was to generate, to teach the Golden Rule to children in our public schools. So 2 years later, the Arizona Interfaith Movement again asked me to run a bill to create the Golden Rule license plates, which, as you can see on the screen here, that's what they are. And in Arizona, you're going to hear a little bit more about this from, I think, from Ann Taylor. But simply put, in Arizona, there are specialty plates. And you can, an organization can come to the legislature, request a plate, and if it passes and it's approved, and of course it has to be a nonprofit organization, then it goes into the system whereby people who want to get a license plate can choose that one. And when they choose that one, $25 they pay for the plate, and $17 goes to the organization, $8 goes to the state. So it becomes a sort of a never-ending fundraising process for your organization once you get a specialty plate approved. So the bill to create these license plates was a little easier. It passed 22 to 6 in the Senate and 44 to 8 in the House, because members of the Arizona Interfaith Movement came down to the legislature and met with their legislators and other legislators and educated them as to what, first of all, what the Golden Rule is, which you would hope they would know, but and then also what the effect is going to be if we're able to get this Golden Rule license plates bills passed. So because of their efforts at the legislature, that's why this bill passed rather easily through the process. So Arizona became the first, and as far as I know, the only state that has license plates that say, live the Golden Rule. And it's so fun to drive around town and see the license plates and say, there's a good person who's trying to live the Golden Rule. So if there's some of you from other states that would like to do this, I'd be happy to help and tell you more about it and assist you in the process if you feel that would be helpful. In today's polarized political climate, it's kind of hard to get positive bipartisan initiatives done. But the Golden Rule is so powerful that it actually transcends partisanship. And the trick is you have to get the legislators to trust that there's no hidden agenda here, and that the other side, whichever side that might be, is not going to try to use this against you in some future election. Because that's the main fear that legislators live under. And you'll find actually that if you do this process in your legislature, I don't know if you have the same process, but if you do, you'll find that some people will use this as an opportunity to bash the other side. Because they'll say, the other side does not practice the Golden Rule because of A, B, C, and D. And then, of course, the other side will say, oh yeah, well, you don't practice the Golden Rule either because of D, E, and F. And so you'll find that. But the solution to do then is to simply read the bill to people and let them focus on the language and not on the political gamesmanship that's always going on in our particular process. So it can be done. And there's really no reason why all 50 states could not have a Golden Rule license plate to generate funding for the teaching and the promotion of the Golden Rule to our children. If that were to happen, do you think it would make a difference if in all the schools across the country, children were taught how to live and practice the Golden Rule? Do you think that would help?
Yes.
It would make a big difference. So the process of getting a law passed is a messy one. It kind of makes horse trading look respectable. But if you're willing to walk into these murky waters, then you can make a difference in your state or country. You're going to hear more about this, I think, following me about the license plates. But it's really, the credit should go to the leaders of the Arizona Interfaith Movement and those members who had the vision and the guts and who persevered in spite of these obstacles, many of which I didn't talk about today, to get this done for our state. Thank you very much.
Good morning, my name is Ed Casper. One of the keys to building a successful interfaith movement is to make service a major part of its mission. One of the most effective ways to do this is to partner with others in those efforts. The Arizona Interfaith Movement did this in the wake of September 15th, 2001, when Balbir Singh Sodhi, a Sikh, was murdered in Mesa, Arizona. His brother Rana Sodhi tells his story.
Good morning, everybody. No one is enemy, none is stranger, and everyone is my friend, said Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the fifth Guru of Sikh religion. It has been seen that major religions all over the world share at least one thing is common. Golden rule: treat other the way of you want to be treated. My brothers and I fled to United States in 80 to escape hatred and religion violence in India. When we came to America as immigrants, and we thought our dream had been answered, but on September 15, 2001, our family was devastated, along with all American friends and neighbors. On September 15, 2001, 4 days later, after 9/11, we learned the ultimate lesson of stereotyping and hate. My dear brother, Balbir Singh Sodhi, had murdered on in Mesa, Arizona, who simply practiced Sikh religion and a turban and beard, and that became a first 9/11 hate crime victim after 9/11. The person who killed my brother, he shot it to my brother. He can root out all the terrorists in America. And I got shocked and went to the deep depression because while I was in India, I heard about America. The country who represent freedom and diversity had a citizen who can kill somebody because of their look, because of their religion. But I lost my brother. The love and support is keep my heart, and is keep in my heart the golden rule to we not seeking revenge back to anybody else. In fact, after 10 months later, I lost my other brother in San Francisco, California. I lost my two brothers in 10-month period with hate. But the interfaith community and the local community all over, not in Arizona, I have so much support and love. It's changed my life, and it's encouraged me to come out and speak out and educate more people in America. And I think before 9/11, I never thought I should involve with community so much. I don't used to be involved so much in the community. But with the loss of my two brothers, now I feel it's so important to be part of the community. And since that, Paul Avenger, my friend, I know him last 26 years. And he and all Arizona Interfaith Movement, all the members and the community in large, really make my family, make my Sikh community to come out, speak out, and educate more people, be part of this country. And we're so proud to be part of this country and promote the golden rule and stood with all other people who are suffering and any of hatred, caste, gender, color, creed, and religion. And today, I believe it. This is everybody's responsibility. I feel that this is my responsibility, and also I'm going to do on my whole life to come out and speak out and tell my story. I feel that if I change one person in my life is worth it. If I save anybody, single person life, because when you lose loved one in your family, I know, with hate especially, and you know, it's very, very painful. But in future, I want to make this world hate-free with the support of all of you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ann Taylor, and I get the privilege of telling you a little bit about our funding sources. And you'll be hearing some more. Can you hear me okay? Okay. You'll be hearing some more from people coming up about how many ways we have worked with the community to receive wonderful in-kind donations that help fund our work by lowering the cost for our events. But I'd like to share with you about our primary source of funding, our Golden Rule license plate. And I know that you've got it up there on the board. This is the real thing. This is one of Paul's plates. So I thought you'd like to see it. It initially started off with black lettering, but it couldn't be seen very well, so it got changed to the white lettering. As you know, the Golden Rule is a common thread among most religions and is a life principle for many secular groups. And it's really the heart and soul of our work. As former Senator Mark Anderson mentioned, the legislature passed a state resolution on May 13th, 2003, encouraging the citizens of Arizona to treat others as they'd like to be treated. And we still have a lot of work to be done. This really helped Darrell Anderson, who is our visionary initially of the Golden Rule, to touch the lives of everyone in the world with the Golden Rule to become true. And you'll see in your handouts the state resolution and some things that helped us to accomplish this for our state. The backbone motivation for this was to bring awareness and use of the Golden Rule into action. And we felt the best way to do this was to impact children.